Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ohio State at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy. Glad to be here with you. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A lot of great things that we have here at the Voice of College Football, including on the main channel, everywhere else, whether it be friends, families, or even foes. We're going to check out the Team Up North channel with my guy, TJ, John, and Johnny. We're going to be on the North Carolina page, which has actually been putting up getting some views lately. So shout out to those guys. Oklahoma, Nebraska. We have it all here at the Voice of College Football, so be sure to check that out. Also, if you'd like to become a member, please click that join button. We have a lot of content upcoming here soon, especially during the season, so we'll love to have you be part of that. Outside of that, though, monetarily, if you would like to, awesome, great. All donations are welcome. Super chats are welcome. But the only thing we ask for is that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It does a lot for us when you just do that, so really love if you could. Also, the Voice of College Football is on Instagram. We do have a website if you'd like to check that out. We have a lot of new writers there that do a lot of great work, keep you up to date with what's going on around the college football landscape. And yeah, it's a great website. I really love the work we do there, do here at the network. It's great. Today, though, a few things we're going to go over. And this is what today's show is going to be about. Sam Pettito moving Ohio State for LSU. Ohio State's biggest villain and what was said there. Downs and Smith and what their comments on this upcoming season, and then giving last week we gave our I gave my defensive preseason position grades. This time we'll give our offensive ones. But before we get started, everybody, something that I just want to talk about with you guys. I was having a conversation with my sister because she didn't know this. So I brought it to her attention about Uno being played in casinos in Vegas. And let me tell you what. I don't know if you guys have ever played, like you play Uno regularly, but my family, my friends, we do. Backgammon is one thing. Baccarat is another thing. Blackjack is another thing too. I don't think people actually understand how dangerous it is to play Uno in a casino. Like that's something that gets overblown when it's for free. So I can only imagine when the house, like if I got like $500 on the line and I get handed like 2 draw 4s, I gotta reach across that table. But that's just me. But I saw that. I was just amazed that they're allowing Uno to be in casinos. But hey, it's 2025 and things like that are allowed now. First off, before we get started, also shout out to Sage, Ohio, here early. Says hello, Buckeyes. Hello to you, bro. OHIO. Same with my guy Jam OSU. Greetings. Thanks, Jam, for being in here early. Again, everyone, before we get started here, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the first topic here. So, Sam Pettito, he leaves Ohio State for LSU here last Friday, I believe, 3 days ago. So last Friday, highly regarded, seen as the best GM, player personnel guy in college football. Spent time with Nick Saban during the whole era, most of the era of him, his dominance of college football. After that, he goes to Georgia. During I think it's 21 and 22, and then 23 comes to Ohio State. Now, this I don't think this is it hurts Ohio State. And again, like this guy's a Louisiana native, born and bred there. So I'm not surprised by that. And shout out to LSU for doing so. I mean, you look at at Ohio. I heard I can't remember who I heard this from, but at Ohio State, you kind of got some. I think it was Chris Drew from Minnesota Sports, who we're gonna actually mention here shortly or later in the show, but talked about how ankle weights like dragging him down at Ohio State, where at LSU you're not going to have that, and he definitely isn't. And I think that while he's at LSU, he's going to do a great job there. Especially because LSU is very good at keeping in-state talent, especially with Louisiana. They're good at keeping in-state talent there in the boot. So good for him. But for me personally, my next question was, where does this lead to for Ohio State in the future? Who are we going after now? Now, I'm not an insider. I can't sit here and tell you I know what Ohio State is doing inside of the Woody and who they're looking at. But with that being said, I do have a couple names here that I think Ohio State should look into. 2 of them are Buckeyes. The other one is a current GM at another program. So I'm gonna get these names up for you guys. And you let me know what you think. First one, Chris Spielman, legendary Buckeye player, awesome person. First off, but you look at a guy like Chris Spielman. I think Chris, and I'll give you the second guy too. It's Chris Carter. And the reason I would look into these two guys because first off, for Chris Carter, I think that for Chris Spielman. First off, he loves the institution. He loves the football program. He's a legend. When you talk about Ohio State football, you can't talk about it without saying Spielman's name. If you talk about the top 10 players, in my opinion, if you talk about the top 10 players in Ohio State history, you can't do that without talking about Chris Spielman. So with that being said, I think that, with him knowing the inner workings of Ohio State, with him having such a deep love for the Buckeyes, and I think he's not he's probably in his 50s now, but he's still relatively young to the point where he can talk to these younger players and let them know what the expectation is at Ohio State and still sell the Buckeye to them. I think that he would be a valuable choice. Next, Chris Carter. CC, again, another guy you can't talk about Ohio State football without. CC is constantly at Ohio State. When you look at the football games, especially the big ones, you can find him on the football field and the sidelines, constantly talking to the current players, constantly talking to recruits who are on the road. And I think that CC, even more than Chris Spielman, has I would say a persona that will gravitate more towards younger players, right? And more guys know who he is. He's on TV more than Chris is. He puts himself out there more, and that's awesome. That's the things you want. Now, of course, you want someone like these guys to hire people under them that can also do the job, part of the job that maybe they're not good at. Because the guys like Pettito, man, that's top of the line GM. I don't really think that Ohio State is going to find someone that's really better than him at the job, but I do believe you go after him. Now, this one is not an Ohio State guy. He's a current GM, and that's Thomas Caporale. And for all the talent people out there, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please let me know. But Thomas Caporale from Syracuse. Now, a little bit of his background. Before he got to Syracuse, he was Michael M. Crop Senior High School in Miami, where he led them to 3 straight postseason appearances. After that, he was at ASA College. It's a JUCO in Miami. He was there for 2 years as a DC special teams coordinator and the recruiting coordinator. And then he gets to Syracuse, where if you pay attention to what Syracuse is doing right now with Fran Brown, that they are one of the dark horses, I think, in the ACC over the next few seasons if Fran Brown decides to stay in New York. But I look at a guy like him who was just able to get Calvin Russell to Syracuse, basically stole him away from the Wolverines. I was talking to TJ, and he was giving me some inside information. And he basically said, "Dude, we were blindsided by this." He told me there was no way you could convince them, and some of them knew that Syracuse was going to be someone tough to beat, but I think they were really surprised at how tough it was, and the fact that they actually lost Calvin Russell to Syracuse. And someone you have to look at is Thomas Caporale. He has South Florida ties. So it's not surprising. Like when you look at all that, you see that also with Fran Brown having Southern ties, SEC ties. It's not surprising that he was able to get someone there. And then, over the next few seasons, who knows what happened with Brian Hartline? It would behoove of Ohio State to keep those South Florida ties, especially in Miami-Dade County. So let me know what you guys think about that. First, how do you feel about Sam Pettito leaving in the comments? Let me know. And then also, how do you feel about Chris Spielman, Chris Carter, or Syracuse's own GM, Thomas Caporale, coming to Ohio State? I think, like I said, I think those guys would be valuable choices, especially Thomas Caporale. He would be my top-of-the-line choice, simply because he is someone who knows the job, and clearly he's damn good at it. Before we move on, Daniel, Berry Sports Highs. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday to you, Daniel. Always glad to see you in here, man. Happy Monday to you also. By the way, Daniel, let me know how you – I don't know if you saw the news of Uno being played in Vegas. I'm not sure if you've ever been to Vegas. I've been there maybe between 5 to 10 times. it becomes a blur when you stay there for 3 to 4 days. But no, I think that's insane for them to do over there. I think that'd be one of the dumbest things they could possibly do. Before we move on, though, everyone, just a reminder: please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also check out the rest of the content that we have here at the Voice of College Football. Also, be sure to check out on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. The Ohio State show live with Mark Rogers, the CEO of the whole network, and then also on Wednesdays later in the night at 7:30 with Mike and Terry, the world famous Buckeye show every Wednesday at 7:30. Make sure to check those guys out, talking about Ohio State football on the greater landscape of college football. It's a really great show, guys. It's a good way to not just focus in on Ohio State, but also see what's going on around the landscape of college football and how it ties into Ohio State. Now, let's continue. Oh, and by the way, everybody, shout out to Minnie and Doreen, who's now part of the Voice of College Football. Everybody, every Sunday at I believe at 8 p.m. for college football at dark. At dark. Everyone, go check them out. Going to be an awesome ride, awesome show with those people, with those two ladies. They're great. They do great work over there, and I think they can be much entertaining and bring their what they believe. I'm sorry, not what they believe, but their insight on college football and what's going on beyond there. Now let's get to the second topic here, which Ohio State's biggest villain. Now, I really, 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 I guess I wouldn't. I don't have a problem with this, but this came from Adam Rittenberg, and he wrote that Michigan coach Jerome Moore has become a problem for the Buckeyes. And then let's continue here reading, or I'll read for you guys. He said he might not wear the villain outfit quite as well as predecessor Jim Harbaugh did, but Moore's rise in coaching as Wolverine's offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, now head coach, has now coincided with Ohio State's longest losing streak, 4 games, to its arch rival since 1991. That's a very long time. Moore served as acting head coach during Harbaugh's Big Ten imposed suspension in 2023 as Michigan punched its ticket into the Big Ten championship game. He then earned the permanent role and pulled off one of the more stunning upsets in history of the game in November in Columbus. The story of Moore's coaching career at Michigan is really just the beginning, but he has already demonstrated his ability to win big games. Now, do I believe Jerome Moore is Ohio State's biggest villain? Nope, I don't. I think the Wolverines are Ohio State's biggest villain, and that's and honestly, and the two are in the same, right? And I think when Adam Rittenberg says this, truth be told, I think he's just trying to get clicks. I think he's just trying to come up with some off-season something to write about in the offseason, which in reality, I don't think it doesn't hold any weight because, yes, Jerome Moore is the University of Michigan. He is the head coach there right now. Himself is not Ohio State's biggest villain. Now, if you truly want to ask me who Ohio State's biggest villain is, I'm going to sit here and tell you it's Ohio State. I think that leading into this season, coming off of a national championship, when you have a bunch of new guys, the one word that should be ringing around the players' heads and should be ringing around the Woody is complacency. Excuse me. And complacency is a curse word in football. You can't be complacent in football. That's how you get beat. That's how you get smacked. That's how you get hit hard. And then you're not able to get back up. And then you think about what these guys have done. And we're going to talk about some of the things that Jeremiah Smith said later in the show on the second half here. But I don't think this team is going to be complacent at all. I think this Ohio State team is ready for the challenge of trying to go back-to-back, of trying to win their first Big Ten title since 2020 in the COVID year, of beating the team up north in the last week of November. I don't think this team needs anything else to bring any bravado. I think this team is ready for this season. You think about them taking down the banners. They don't want championship. And of course, they're going to have the championship banner in the practice facility, and you're going to have the trophy in the facility, right? In the trophy case. But outside of that, they didn't want anything reminding them of what happened the past season. Why? Because yes, there were guys on that team that accomplished that, but this team has it. The team has it, and the team is much more important than one singular person, one singular player, a coach, anybody in the program, anybody inside the Woody. The Block O is the Block O. So again, or not no, but yes, the University of Michigan is Ohio State's biggest rival, and that will be so to the end of days. That was so before we were here. It's the same today, and when we're dead and gone and 6 feet under, it's going to remain the same thing. But this upcoming season, I don't believe that Sharon Moore is Ohio State's biggest villain. Me personally, I'm going to tell you, Ohio State is their own. What's up, Stark? Yeah, guys, doing some dog sitting this week. This is Stark right here. You want to say hi, everybody? Yeah, he's a good dog. I think Stark? You're probably 2 years old now, buddy? Almost 2. But I'm gonna put you down for a second, all right? Come on, buddy. Come on. Wait, no, you're being spazzy right now. You're being spazzy. Come on. There you go. All right, everybody. That's friend of the show, Stark, right there. Big Buckeye talk right there. But no, Jam. I don't hire out, okay? But my goodness, Stark. I knew that was gonna happen eventually. I left the door open. It's kind of hot right now. But like I said, guys, like when you have leaders on this team, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Davison Igbenos, and Carson Hensman, Jeremiah Smith, who let's be honest here, him being a sophomore as a leader, and I think that was bound to happen eventually, him being a leader on this team, but I'm happy this happened early. But when you have guys like that on this team, complacency isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen one bit, especially when you have guys that want to prove themselves. I guarantee you, there is nobody in that locker room who wants to prove themselves more than Julian Sand. And again, we're gonna some of these names are gonna come back up later in the show in the second half here, but I really look forward to talking about it. But again, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Sharon Moore is the biggest villain for Ohio State, or do you think Ohio State is its own biggest villain to where we have to make sure that complacency does not hit us? If you think it's somebody else, let me know. Again, I think it's just low-hanging fruit to say Sharon Moore is Ohio State's biggest villain because he is the coach of the team up north. It's kind of like a duh comment to me. I really don't think that it's saying. I don't think it's a grandiose statement. I really don't. I don't think that Adam Rittenberg Adam Rittenberg is a great writer. I've been doing it for a long time, but again, I don't understand. I just don't understand what he was getting to there when you already know that the University up north is already the biggest villain for Ohio State. And like I said, that's gonna be the case long before we're gone. And it was before we were already here, everybody. Before we continue though, always gotta do some house cleaning here. So a message here from the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. Let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. Check out the experience of one of our current partners, that being Win Agency, here posted on the screen, and we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@vocfb.com today. I see we got a few more people here joining in. Aaron, good to see you. He says, "Isn't Blaine Bradford recruitment shut down?" Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's what, I saw some people talking about, Pettito leaving and how that could affect the Blaine Bradford recruitment. That's not happening. That is not. Gary Airy, Matt MG is not letting that happen. That guy's a Buckeye, and that will remain so when he gets on the field in scarlet and gray. So, yeah, no. Jam was going on. Yeah, Jam. No, I won't hire out for you, bro. I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. Matthew Mill, my guy Matthew Mill from Texas, from the Voice Council. Everybody, make sure to check them out. What they got going over there. Texas is gonna give you. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody saw this, but Elon Musk, everyone had posted this picture in Austin, Texas, and it looked like a Woody. You're crazy, Miller. You're crazy. Mini Golden Doodle. No, first off, Richie, hey, everyone, Richie's in the chat. But no, what is Stark? I don't know. Listen, my brother-in-law and sister, they leave for South Carolina in the morning, so I'm here dog sitting for the week. So yeah, it's me and Stark. But no, I'll figure that out, Richie, and I'll let you know. Yeah, we have everybody shouting on Richie, of course, and Jam. Love it. See, Jam, I think Dave suffers from Michigan syndrome. No, he does. And again, like people say Ohio State has a Wolverine problem, Michigan problem. No. Ryan Day has that problem, not the program. And as soon as he figures out that he is superior to them, it will all be fixed. This will all be a thing of the past. And it's not like he can't lose them again, but it won't happen how it's happening right now. It just won't. It just won't. Shout out to Abdul. Good to see you in here, man. Says Ohio State don't have a Michigan problem. Yeah, thank you. It's not Ohio State. It's just, and you guys know me. I'm a Ryan Day truther, but it's just him. Jamos, you said saw Queen last night. Catch her on Sundays. Yes, everyone. Doreen and Minnie and Mark Rogers. You can check them at 8 p.m. on Ohio State After Dark Sundays at 8 p.m. Go check them out. Going to be a great show. I think it's been one of the better shows that we have here on the network. Talk, football insight and just great talk. And you can't get that anywhere else but here. Also, if you are a member of the Voice of College Football main channel, you can call in there. So be sure to do that, guys. Again, nowhere else are you going to get where you're able to, which I love being part of this network, is where I get to talk with you guys. You get to talk with me on Thursdays. That's your guys' show, not my show. As I said before, I get tired of hearing myself talk. And if you follow me on X, you know I talk enough on there. So yeah, guys, be sure to check them out over there. Abdul says Blaine already was talking about the rivalry. He's a lot, bro. He's a lot. He ain't going back to the boot. Blue Wolverine says, "Hey rivals, what's going on, B Dub? Good to see you here, my friend. Always love to have the good Michigan people here, the good ones. And B Dub, you are one of them. Oh man, but okay, no, it's 9 p.m. Thank you, B Dub. It's 9 p.m., not 8 p.m. That's when you can catch Doreen and Minnie and Mark Rogers over there, guys. Be sure to do that. And I don't think we're having a brewski for that person. So, a few things I just want to hit, guys. I'm calling this little halftime segment. Question of the day. I posted this on X. Now I'll pull it up here for you guys. Let me know, who are your under the radar Buckeyes for this season? So the three, I picked three of them. One on offense, two on defense. The first one I have is Lamar Bo Jackson, of course, freshman running back from the state of Ohio, one of the bigger recruits that we got, or commits that we got last year. I think he's going to be the third back. He should be the third back on the depth chart this upcoming season. I also believe he is the most talented guy, and I don't think by a lot, because I think James Peoples is that guy. Like, I think James Peoples is going to be. He reminds me of hey Stark. He reminds me of J.K. Diamond, J.K. 2K. But I really think those two guys are going to be the most talented guys in the room. But yeah, Lamar Bo Jackson, I think that he's going to be a guy that is going to get a lot of playing time this upcoming season. Really excited to see what he does coming off the bench. Maybe early in the season, we're going to see a little bit more than we would later in the season. But definitely think he gets in the field a lot. And then the two that I have on defense, one being Logan George, defensive end who transferred in earlier this year. Now, as you guys know, if you've been listening to the channel, I am big on what he could do for this team, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's played before. Now, of course, it's not the same level. This is a big jump in talent in terms of the talent game of what he is used to playing against. But I do think that he's gonna have a decent year. I think that he's gonna have a development period. But I do think at some point later in the season, he's gonna be a guy that can get on the field, especially with the depth there that we have. I mean, listen, guys, he has more experience at that position than a guy like CJ Hicks does, right? So we'll see what that looks like. Also, I think Larry can do wonders with him. And then the third one, Bryce West. Now, Bryce West, for those who don't know, is probably a top 3 to 5 athlete on this team. Track guy, really fast, good hips. Got in against late in the Tennessee game. Remember, they tried to go deep on him. Wasn't happening. Something that Ohio State fans are not used to. He actually turned around and looked for the ball, right? And swatted it away. So yeah, those are my three: Lamar, Bo Jackson, or you just call him Bo Jackson, Logan George, and also Bryce West. And then I'll show you guys what some of the people on X said. You'll see some of the same answers, and a few people, and some of them I wouldn't call them under the radar people. But shout out to Sean here. He says the whole position group, the offensive line, and I agree with him. I think the offensive line is going to be really good this season. I think that for some, they're getting overlooked when they shouldn't be. At the return, the 3 interior guys they brought in, bringing Aniyanwa, and then Saravel, Iron Buckeye this year, moved to right tackle. Was going to do that or right guard, depending on what Phillip Daniels did. But then Tegra is going to stick at that right guard position. I think the offensive line is going to be the top 5, one of the top offensive lines in the nation. DG Dylan every day says Jackson Corville. College focus Jason Moore, Luke Montgomery. I can see that. Ian Moore as a depth piece at offensive line. I can see that. Jelani Thurman, Kenyatta Jackson Jr. I got some people that don't agree with me with this. I think Kenyatta can be better than Jack Sawyer and JTT. I truly do. I think he's a better. I think he's a better athlete than them. Probably has more bend than them. Cool Breeze says James Peoples, Jeremiah Smith. Come on now, Stephen. Come on now. Jalen McClain, love that one too. But yeah, everyone, yeah. So let me know in there, and I'll bring some of them up. Let's see. Oh, maybe you guys didn't see it yet. Burks, yeah, one of the strongest Ohio State and Wolverine alliances. Me and Burks, good to see you in here, man. Always great to see you in here. Burt Hammer, come with me on how. Oh, good grief, Burks, good grief. Oh my God. All right, so see, Abdul said, I'd say Peyton Pierce, especially with Sonny and Arvell coming off the edge. I agree. I do agree with you. I think we are going to see, and they've talked about Arvell going on the edge more. But I do think you're going to see him and Sonny there a lot, especially with how Matt Patricia runs his multiple defense. I know we're running a 4-2-5 base still, which is kind of a variation of the 3-4. But yeah, he runs a base 3-4. I do think that we're definitely going to see them there. And when that happens, Peyton Pierce is going to get on the field. Along with I think you can see Alford go on the field. Of course, you can't. Petty John's going to see the field. Petty John's going to see the field. I was actually surprised I didn't see his name on there at all under there. But yeah, I do think he could see the field also. See, Jam says, I know a couple of our players raised their status on three. Yes. And I'll be talking about that here in a little bit. Yes, I'll bring that back up here, Jam, because that did happen. See, Berg says our 2022 receiver class was a miss. You know what's funny, Abdul? I actually watched a video. If you come back Thursday, and I'll find the video and I'll bring it back. I'll put that in my notes. But I saw I watched a guy that did like a 15-minute video, about that class. My God. That is the only time or the only year that Brian Hartline completely missed in a cycle. And I mean, when I say completely missed, I mean he completely missed. Right? It was that wasn't one of the better cycles that of our young offensive coordinator, our wide receiver coach's career. It wasn't that good, honestly. No, but shout out, yeah. Jam brings up something something important here. Says I noticed a couple of our players raised their statuses on On Three, and yes, the main guy I want to talk about here is Sam Greer. Sam Greer, I think, once 247 raises their rating for him, I do think that he's a possible 5-star guy, especially after the his senior season. You look at because a lot of guys they up their rating after the summer and during the summer. You look at what he did, and then was that what camp was that? I'm missing him right now. I remember a little bit, but at that camp, I mean, he was manhandling guys. I mean, listen, guys, he's 6'8", 320. And so it's to be expected of him. Like I said, 5-star guys, and though injuries did set him back his freshman and sophomore year, I do think his senior year is the reason why he could possibly become a 5-star. I think the only thing that held him back from possibly being a 5-star is his freshman and sophomore year from being injured those 2 years. Because usually guys when they're 5-stars is because their physical capability is better than what other guys have, and they may not be as technically sound, which he isn't. He's not technically sound. He still needs to learn the position. But you look at the size and the athletic ability that he has, but he's also a really good basketball player. Everybody, I really think that that 5-star, that 5th star could be handed to him down the road, and then maybe by his sophomore junior year, he's a plug and play guy. With the development with Tyler Bowen and what he could do there. Thank you, Jam, for bringing that up, man. Good point there. I actually almost overlooked that. So you're my guy, bro. Thank you. What else? Burke says Carlos Fulton I thought was an OSU. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. Let me see. You guys don't honestly believe. Okay, I got time. Carlos, this is like me asking you this ridiculous question. Over the course of 20 years when we were spanking you for 17 of them, did you at any point did you think that you guys could win those games after 8 years, after the 7th year, after the 6th year, after the 5th year, when you went 3,500 plus days without being Ohio State? Was there ever a point that you still thought that? So yes, you're damn right. I think we can go into Ann Arbor and beat you guys. Come on, Carlos, you're better than that. You're better than that. Come on, of course we can. Come on. All right, guys. So, getting on to our third topic here. Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith. They spoke recently, and I do want to read and go through some of the quotes that I have here from those guys. And let's start with Caleb Downs here. He says, I think we have the chance to be just as good as we were last year, speaking about the defense, based off the talent we have, he said. We are still Ohio State, and we still have a lot of talent. Recently on X, I had posted a photo of Caden McDonald, Edric Houston, Bo Atkinson, Kenyatta, and Caden Curry. And I said, is this the defensive line that they're asking me to be worried about? I know that the defense is going to have a settling in period over the first few games. I think we all know that, especially with a new defensive coordinator and new guys. But shout out to my boy Johnny. He said, have those guys ever started? Yes. Kenyatta started against Notre Dame. Or was it Notre Dame? Yes. Edric Houston started 3 games last season. Holy crap, Garrison. No, but you get my point. Oh, Jermaine Matthews. There we go. Jermaine Matthews, big main. Started against Texas with Burks out. And that was let me tell you what, that was a risky game, but unless you knew how good that Jermaine Matthews was. So there are guys at every level of the defense that have started games, and then at the linebacker and secondary, corner and safety level, actually, you have guys that are tenured starters. I'm not going to be worried about anything on this defense. And I really don't think I have to, especially by game 3 or 4. I really don't see it. And I think that, especially when we talk about that Texas game, because of how early it is, and Matthew, if you're still in here, I can care less about you say about your offensive line, brother. They have no continuity. I don't care how. And by the way, everyone's telling me that Brandon Baker, your possible right tackle, is more worried about getting married at the age of 19 than playing college football. So, yes, I have no worries about them. Next quote from Caleb Downs. He says, talking about the new guys, those guys have been here and have waited their turn. Just to see them step up in new roles is going to be a great watch. Again, look at the guys that are on this defense and how talented they are. Like Jermaine Matthews. For those who maybe forgot, Jermaine or don't know, Jermaine Matthews was a freshman All-American. He has the talent. He just had to wait his turn. Now, do I believe he should have been waiting his turn behind Burke? No, I don't. But I mean, Caleb Downs, freshman All-American. Davison Igbinosun over at Ole Miss, freshman All-American. I'm really excited to see what this defense can be in these new roles. Arvell Reese, freak athlete. Shout out to Jake Butt, Big Ten legend, tight end from the team up north, and actually one of the better commentators on TV right now. He came out and said in the spring game, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese are the most athletic linebacker duo in college football. And I really do think when you look at guys like him, you look at the athletic ability of the defensive line, bringing a guy like Bo Atkinson also. I think Bo Atkinson is going to be one of the biggest additions in college football. And at the end of the season, he's probably going to be named probably one of the top 5 to 10 biggest transfers in college football. Again, it's new guys and new roles. But why are we supposed to be worried? Why? Again, everyone thinks that Ohio State could possibly go 9-3 because of all the new faces around the defense and the offense. Well, I've been hearing that same damn story for a very long time now. I've only seen it 9-3. It's been 3 times, three times since 2000. Yeah, it doesn't happen often, guys, and it hasn't happened since 2011 when off the stupid year when we decided to. Where we had guys that were injured, guys that couldn't play. You all know the story. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Caleb Downs. I'm really looking forward to seeing new guys in their roles. And then he goes to say, talking about Matt Patricia. He says, "Great teacher, great educator of the game. I learned a lot from him in his short time here. He's taught me a lot about football, so I'm excited. I'm excited for how we're going to play on the field." As much as people want to say he's a bad coach, people want to say, "Oh, Bill Belichick was the real defensive coordinator," which I hate that argument. I hate that argument because if Brian Hartline goes and balls out as an offensive coordinator, are we not going to give him his due? And they're just going to say, "Oh, no, that was Ryan Day." Stop it. It's a low level football argument. So, when I see this, and I think like CJ Hicks, the way he speaks about him, you look at the defensive line and how they say like, dude, this the verbiage and how he talks about the game. And Caleb Downs says it here too, man. It's much different, even from what they said about Jim Knowles. It's much different. And I think that when you have a guy who's a rocket scientist also, but you have a guy who comes in there with 3 Super Bowl rings, he's a tenured NFL coach, and all these guys know his name. It's impossible to be a possible NFL player in an NFL factory like Ohio State, and the guys in the room don't know who Matt Patricia is. And then when you get him in the room and you're able to talk football with him, you're going to probably find out, yeah, Matt Patricia's a very smart guy. And he knows what he's talking about on the football field. And I think that for a lot of these guys, even Caleb Downs, man, I think that Matt Patricia, that being, is going to be able to unleash a lot of these guys. One of them being Caleb Downs, the other one being Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles is one of the biggest freak athletes in college football currently. And that's just a fact. 6'5", 225, 230, running around like a house of fire. I really think Kenyatta Jackson Jr., freak athlete. Edric Houston. I think a lot of these guys are going to get unlocked because they have an NFL guy who has no problem with letting his players go out there and make plays. I do think Matt Patricia is probably going to have to scale back the amount of blitzing because it's very common for NFL guys to go and blitz a lot. It's very common for that. But because the margin of error is a little bit less in college. I'm sorry, a little bit less in the NFL, but in college, man, you can get tore up from the floor up from some of the offensive coordinators. So I do think there's going to be that learning period for him. But once he learns it, and credit where credit is due, a guy like Wink Martindale, once a guy that's smart, who has the chops that these guys have, and especially in the NFL, and cut their teeth doing that stuff, I just don't see how he fails. It's impossible for me to. And it's not like he's playing with Detroit Lions talent that they had back then, that crap talent they had in that football team for a crap organization. No, he's playing for the best organization in college football with some of the best talent in college football, right? So it's a little bit different now. So, yeah, really excited about that. Really excited to see what Matt Patricia can do with these guys. And then let's get to Jeremiah Smith. And a lot of this, guys, again, if you reckon back to what we said in the first half of the show, and again, if you haven't already, everybody, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button right there for you. The only thing we ask for monetarily. If you want to give out monetarily for a super chat or something like that, awesome. But all I ask is that you hit that like button. But this comes from JJ. And before I start reading this, I'm excited about this because Jeremiah is a naturally quiet guy. He doesn't speak much, does a lot of things with his play on the field. But man, he's stepping into his role as a leader. And most people will tell you, oh, you don't want your wide receiver as a leader. Well, it depends. It depends. When you have a guy like him who's mentally secure in himself, when you have a guy like him who's internally secure in himself, a guy like him who doesn't just talk for the sake of talking. He's not a truculent person. I truly believe he's one of those guys that when he talks, he truly means what he means, and he's not just saying it for the sake of it. Kind of like what he said about he don't plan on losing that team for the next 2 years. I believe him when he says that. I really do, and I ride behind him for that. But he says here, I just can't wait till the season starts. We definitely going to put on a show. A lot of people have been doubting us. Facts. I can't wait to prove a lot of people wrong this year. Shout out to you, Paul Feinbaum, who said Ohio State is going to struggle to make the playoffs this season. BS. Jeremiah is right here, and there's a lot of people around and it's not just rival fans. It's not just people. I mean, I don't. Shout out to my boy Grim on X. He don't even think Ohio State is going to struggle. He thinks we're going to beat the dog-ish out of Texas. That he actually thinks that. But there's a large portion of people that think Ohio State is going to struggle this season. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why everybody thinks that Ohio State can go out there with the talent that they have. And mind you, he has bigged up Julian. You honestly, you think you think Jeremiah Smith is going to say what he said about Julian Sands just for the hell of it? Like, people got to use their brains, man. Like, Julian Sands was handpicked by Nick Saban. So when I see him say this, and clearly he takes it to heart, being disrespected like this by the national media and everybody else, and rightfully so, because it is Ohio State, and he is on this team at the end of the day. Him being the best player in college football, and I think for any player of any sport, when you are seen as the best in your respective sport, and people are going out of their way to say that your team is going to struggle, yeah, you're going to take that as disrespect, and I don't think there's any other way to take it. And so, love that. And then he says this: we've put in a lot of work with Coach Mick Mariotti. Says workouts this year were harder than last year, I should say. They've been pushing us because it's a new team. Everybody got new roles. Again, speaking towards what Downs talked about earlier about being excited about it, and clearly Jeremiah is too. These are the two guys that I want talking. Like, these are Julian is saying he can wait. He's the quarterback, but he can wait. I believe that Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs are the two best players in college football. I think most people will agree with that in this chat right now and watching this channel. You want them talking like this going into this season. I don't need coach speak. I don't need my coaches talking up the players. I don't need Ryan Day saying, oh, yeah, we got new guys and new roles, but they're ready to feast. I don't need Brian Hartline going out saying, yeah, Julian Sands is going to be throwing that pill around the field. I don't need Matt Patricia going around saying the defense can be just as good as last year. I need to hear from Caleb Downs, and I need to hear from Jeremiah Smith. That's who I need to hear from. And I really think that when push comes to shove, everyone on the team is going to look to these two guys. And I do think these are the two guys you look to. Again, usually you don't want your team looking at a wide receiver. I can understand that. This ain't any wide receiver. Like if someone told me you don't want to look towards Julio Jones, I would say you're crazy. That's a leader. Those are the guys that you want captaining your team. Not because of the position they play, but because of who they are. Because of the young men that they are, because of the players that they are, and because they're hard workers and they care about the blocko. And that's why I'm excited about this. I'm sweating right now. My heart's pumping thinking about this because I'm really excited to see these guys to play. But I'm more excited to see them play. But I'm very excited to see how they're talking that talk because these are the two guys I know can walk it. Without a doubt, I know they can walk it. So yeah, guys, I'm calm now, guys. I'm calm now. Sorry about that. I got my blood pumping right there. Tell you, as an ex-football player, when you see your boys talking like this, man, it really just it does something to me. It really does. First off, shout out to my guy. Yeah, Kevin's in the chat. What's going on? He says OSU ceiling is undefeated. Floor is 3 L's. Again, it's hard for me to see 3 L's. And if it happens, listen, if it happens, I'm going to crash out because 9-3 to me is what 7-5 is probably to these Wolverine fans, right? So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Oh my God. Yeah, Carlos Fulton, man. I don't know. I don't know what to say to you, bro. I'm looking up and seeing that. I don't know what to say to you. Jam says I once heard Wilfong say that they give 32 players 5 stars to match the NFL's first round picks. That would make sense. I think that on 3 rivals they only give out 12. I read that somewhere today. That could be wrong. Maybe Jam, you would know. I know you know a lot of information. Let me know. But okay, but that would make sense though from Wilfong. I heard 12, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. Richie, that's crazy. Oh man, Berg says I agree. Yeah, man. Antoine, it's good to see. Oh, I'm sorry, Antonio. It's good to see you in here. Someone told me our ceiling was 10-2 and the floor was 7-5. Get that season here immediately. Wait, I think I'm reading this wrong, but I need to know who said Ohio State's floor is 7-5 because that's asinine. What did Stephen A. Smith say? Ass a 9, ass a 10, ass a 11, and honestly, that's just an ass take. So I don't see that happening. 7-5 for Ohio State. I think that Ryan Day wouldn't be able to make it back into the Woody. I really don't think that. Jam says, "Be careful, Garrison. I'm a longtime Lions fan through and thin and thin." I will say, Jam, you guys are the most loyal fan base in America. I'm a Cowboys fan. My mom's a Detroit native and a big Lions fan. I'm really I actually am happy for her over the last few years that she's been able to see you guys have this much success. And honestly, right now I'm somewhat of a closeted Lions fan because my organization sucks and I hate my team. Actually, no, I hate my quarterback. I hate Dak Prescott with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. JML says I hate to lose to Michigan. But I'm glad the rivalry has been reignited. I am too. And let's be honest here. Did I see this streak of 4 losses happening? No. 3 losses? No. But I mean, we all knew eventually we were going to lose a game, and it is good for the sport. It is good for the sport. Jam, fine ball thinks with his ears. That's fine. I also heard he gets about 20 radio channels with it too. Not sure if that's a fact or not, but yeah. Let's see, bro. This Cardinal Tate is killing. Wait, why is Cardinal Tate killing you? Okay. Cardinal Tate. Hey, yeah. I don't get it. He's a wide receiver 1 for probably 98.9% of the college programs out there. It doesn't make any sense. Shout out to my guy Sage. Good to see you here. Watch some big show that said the guy from Oregon is better than Downs. Sage, I need you to figure out who said that. Wait, are you talking about? I can't. Is it from Locked On? From the Locked On Big Ten channel? You got the glasses. Let me know if that's who you're talking about. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. And if he said that, I gotta clip that up. I really gotta clip that up because that's insane. Abdul says, "Can't wait for when the Ohio State putting BTA on teams." Excuse me. It'll be well. I sure hope they do that in that system. They are playing with great players around them. Oh, Abdul, I can't wait for that either, bro. I can't wait for that either. Because that's gonna be the excuse. When Ohio State goes and beats the doggish out of these teams, like I don't know. Let's pick out. I heard some people say Ohio State's gonna. I actually heard some people say Ohio State's gonna lose to Illinois. I do think that can be a tough game, but we're not gonna lose that game. And I've heard and when we beat the snot out of them, they're gonna say, "Well, you guys have Julian Sand, who we've been calling a midget, and you guys do have a lot of talent on the D line. Even though we said earlier a few months ago that they're gonna be new and not gonna be as good. That's gonna be what they cry and run to. We all know that, Abdul, and I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it." Berg says they're talking about Claire more than Tate when Claire hasn't even touched the. Well, here's the reason, Burks. Here's the reason. Max Claire, it's not so much about him as a player and catching the ball. It has to do with the fact that now it's going to be damn near impossible for guys to bracket Jeremiah, try and leave a guy one-on-one with 6'3", 200-pound Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis in the slot, and then you still got to account for Claire. That's the reason why people would bring up Claire. Max Claire is probably possibly the best tight end in the country. So, but I understand. I think I understand what you mean, Burks. But that's why people talk about Max Claire. Oh, I'm still basking too. Richard says, "Brother, I'm a Browns fan." Man, I'm not going there right now. I'm not going to talk about him. That's for the Browns podcast to talk about. This is an Ohio State podcast. But shout out to I hope the victim is okay. I'll say that much. I hope the victim is okay. Even though it's a weird. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about the situation. So yes. All right. Thank you, Sage. I'm going to find that, clip that up, and bring that because that's insane for him to say that. Berg says Richie Dubs. Quincy Porter is what I'm scared of. Everybody should be scared of Quincy. Everybody should. Burks, no problem, bro. No problem at all. So, last thing we're going to do here, everybody, and again, before we hit this last topic, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But, by the way, speaking of NFL, shout out to Garrett Wilson. 31 mil per, the first wide receiver to ever do it. So for all the wide receiver recruits that see this, Burks and B-Dub, sorry, I'm going to do this. Jaden Pyle, I love your tape, kid. You follow me on X. I got to ask you a few questions when you did the interview on the Voice Michigan, the Voice of College Football. I like your tape. You can come be a wide receiver at Ohio State. You see how these wide receivers at Ohio State get paid. Nico Collins is a good receiver. He ain't getting paid like that. Roman Wilson's never getting paid like that. I don't even know if Roman Wilson's still Roman Wilson might be on the practice squad for the Steelers now. So keep that in mind, young man. Yeah. So yeah. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, our fourth and last topic, everybody. Offensive grades for Burks, you're funny, man. For the offense. So let me know what you guys think on here. Give me your grades and I'll pull them up. But let's start with the higher grades. At wide receiver, no. We gotta pause, everybody. Day one's in here. What's going on, Day Good? I said Day Good. What's going on, Day One? Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you in here. So let's start with the offensive line, everybody. I gave them an A-. And again, we talked about it earlier about how overlooked this offensive line unit is. I think that when you bring back the interior, Carson Hinsman, by the way, who's been working with LaCharles Bentley. Carson Hinsman going to be one of the best players, I think, the best centers in the country this year. Carson Hinsman also spoke recently about everything that he learned from Seth McLaughlin and how, Carson Hinsman was the starter in 2023. Every single game, he was a starter. So I can imagine, the next season when Ohio State brings in a guy from Alabama, that guy ends up winning the Remington, which is the best center in the league. I mean, it's the best center in college football. It can be hard to see that. But he talked about how much he learned from him, how good it was for him to sit behind him. And then, but you look at what happened in the playoffs, everybody didn't miss a beat, did he? Didn't miss one beat. He came right into the playoffs. I mean, not even into the playoffs, but started before that because Seth got hurt before that. And it took a couple games, but by the playoffs, man, he was running through people. And speaking of the playoffs, we talk about the other two guys, Integra, who he's been a working project, man. But I think this could be the year where he finally puts it all together. I really believe that. And then on the left side of Carson, you have Luke Montgomery, who I think is going to be an All-American this season, a possible All-American. I do think he will be an All-Big Ten player. I think Luke Montgomery. And if you haven't checked out, everybody, Mike and myself, we did interview Luke Montgomery about a month or two ago. And actually, I'll pull the link right here and share it with you guys. But we had a great interview with him. Awesome kid. Can't wait to see what he does this season. But yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. Again, our interview with Luke Montgomery. But you look at that, and then you look at the new additions. Now, Phillip Daniels is not going to be starting because Austin Sareveld, Iron Buckeye, is going to be the new right tackle. I think that when you look at the maturation of Austin Sareveld, I think when he got Iron Buckeye, that told me everything I needed to know. Because as soon as that happened, maybe 3 weeks to a month later, they said and they didn't say what position because he could have played right guard or right tackle. All they said was Austin Sareveld is going to start. They made it that simple. And so I can't wait to see what he does. And then you bring up Ethan Aniangwa from Rice, who was one of the most coveted offensive players in the portal, offensive tackles in the portal. We actually got him. We beat the team up north for him. So that was a great get for Ohio State. Great get. So you look at that, and I really believe that this offensive line can be. I think there'll be a Joe Moore Award finalist this season. I think, again, they'll be top 3 to 5 this season. I think that they can possibly win. I still think Penn State is going to be the best offensive line in the Big Ten, possibly Oregon, but I think they're right there with it. I think the Big Ten, in terms of trench play, is the best in the country. So really looking forward to seeing that. And I'll read some of these real quick because I just saw right here. Sage says, I agree, A-. However, this O-line will have many interchangeable pieces. I agree. Another guy, Ian Morrison, we should look at, but another guy I think that will be interchangeable will be and also, by the way, they did say that every single one of their offensive linemen on this team have to have a secondary position. Every single one of them does. But another name I think everyone should pay attention to, just in case, not because of injury, but just guys that can be on the field in case they want to interchange guys, like Sage is saying. Gabe Van Sickle from Coopersville, Michigan, about 10 minutes up the road from where I live. He's a West Michigan product. Was committed to Northwestern before committing to Ohio State. So I do think that's another guy that we should look at. Day One says Tegra is going to be an X factor for this team, being a little title contender. I agree. If Tegra is the guy that we think he can be, through the roofs. This team goes through the roofs. I really believe that. Let me see what I just saw. Let me see. And Jam says Tegra's the weak league. I agree. Yeah. As of right now, he is. That can't be overstated. I really do agree with you on that one. As of right now, he is. So next we go to wide receiver. I have an A+. What else is there to say, guys? Right? Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter. Oh man, I know I don't want to miss anybody's names, but I think those are the main guys you'd be paying attention to. But that wide receiving, everybody, it just is what it is. It is what it is. By the way, Desi Jones, I think he's gonna be. Hey, look, everyone look up for Desi Jones in the future, but he was from last year's recruiting class. But the wide receiver team or unit is what it is. It's the best position room in the country. It's the most competitive room in the country. Uh, it ain't easy. It ain't easy coming to play wide receiver at Ohio State. You unless you gotta fight for your spot, and that's why guys do come to Ohio State for that position. Again, A+. What else is there to say about it, right? Now I'll go to tight end. I have it as a strictly A. Max Clare is the reason why I have it at an A, because usually you play two tight ends, but I think when you have that one guy who's the possibly best in the nation, I think it's automatic A. Possibly A+, possible A+. Just got to see on the field first, coming from Purdue. Even though I have no doubt about it, what he's going to be. Luke Kazmarek, I don't. We'll see what happens. I do think he's a good blocker, but I think he's just a veteran piece. The X factor in that room, it's got to be shoot. Just hit a brain fart. You guys know me with my brain farts, but the X factor. Oh my God, it's really happening to me right now. Jalen. Oh my God, Jelani Thurman. Thank you. I remember now. Jelani Thurman is going to be the X factor in that room. I do think that he's a A+ blocker, but we need him to be an A+ player. And that's not just learning how to catch your hands. Which in the spring game, Jelani did do a good job of that. Jelani caught 2 passes with his hands, so thank goodness. It was just bobbling around like he did from that one pass from Will last season. But I do believe that if Jelani can take that next step, that's another part of this team, just like Tegra, that takes us over the top. I really believe that, because Julian Sanders is going to get the ball up fast. He's going to get the ball where it needs to go. He can really read defenses. He's a smart kid or a smart young man. But I think if we're able just to give him weapons upon weapons upon weapons, I don't know who is going to stop this offense. I really don't, especially with the running backs we have. I think the running back unit is also really, really good. And as we're talking about that, let's move on to the running backs. I gave them a B+. Bring in CJ Donaldson, 2-time 700 yard rusher the last 2 seasons from West Virginia, 6'2", 230-pound guy, lost some weight, coming to Ohio State. He said he feels faster now, which is good. Also, he was a really good receiver in high school, coming from the South Florida. But really think that he's going to start the season out. And then you have James Peoples, who I think is probably at the end of the year he's going to have less carries, I think, than CJ. But I do believe he's going to, I think I said he's going to average over 6 yards a carry this season. I think I did make that bold take. And then you look at what's behind him. Bo Jackson, Turbo Rogers, who came in late, but I do think he's going to get on the field too. Sam Williams-Dixon, can't forget him. Stronger, bigger back. Can definitely, he's always going to lean forward. That's why I did learn from him from his last year high school tape, and also from what we saw in the spring game. So really looking forward to what he does there. But yeah, the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to this running back unit, usually when you have a running back unit with younger guys, what I tend to look at is how are they in pass protection. You look at Quinshawn last year, and you look at Travion. Those guys could block their asses off. They really could. And I really believe that if something were to set back this offensive this team on offense, hey Stark, if something were to set us back, it would be pass protection from the running back unit. So yeah, that's that. And then last but not least is quarterback, and I gave that B. And I'm only gonna, like, the whole room, if we want to grade that, maybe it's a little bit lesser. Sorry about the door, but I gotta let the dog out. Oh, he's right here. What's up, Stark? But I do think that the grade I have for them is a B. And by the way, that's a B with a possible A. A B with a possible A+. Because there's a really good chance, everybody, that Julian Sand goes out there and lights it up. There's a really good chance he does that. And would we be surprised if he did? No, I don't think anyone in here would be surprised. I don't think anyone in the national media would be surprised. Again, as Abdul said earlier, there are going to be a lot of people talking crap about Julian Sand for these as they have for the last few months, and as they will for the next until the season starts. And as soon as Julian Sand goes out there and tears their arses apart, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, but he was a 5-star. He was the number three quarterback behind Dylan Raiola and DJ Lagway." Don't care to hear it. Stand on your word. All you Wolverine fans, anyone else in the college football world that thinks Julian Sand is good. Actually, let's just be honest. It's just them. It's just that fan base. So stand on your word. So then when it comes down to it at the end of the season and he tears y'all up and he's throwing across the yard, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So yeah, guys, those are the grades I have. And before we get out of here, again, I'll go through some of these comments real quick. Again, everyone, thank you for showing up here. Love having you guys here. You are part of the voice of college football. You are the voice of college football. I'm just the mouthpiece here that talks to you. So thank you guys for being here. Jam says Luke is my guy in Northwestern Ohio for sure, but I think Luke Montgomery is going to be a star for this team this season. Again, everybody, I put it in the chat, and I'll put it here again. If you haven't already checked it out, check out me and Mike's interview with Luke Montgomery. It was a great time. Should be A++. Hit burst. Maybe it should be. Maybe it should be. Day one says if it's an A, the season was an epic failure. Maybe so. Maybe so. Yes. Jelani has sketchy catches because Jelani has sketchy hands. That is, it is what it is. He catches with his body, and it just is what it is. But I hope that this season he can make that next step because he's already an impact blocker. He can already, and usually the hard part that like some tight ends aren't good at blocking, believe it or not, but he is. So yeah, if he gets down that pass catching part and route running and all that stuff, it could be a great season for the team. The one says if Kaz Merrick is getting a lot of tick, something is wrong. Good point. He said Kaz Merrick. Oh, okay. Chill. That's funny. Special teams ranking. I'll give it a C, and that's because like kicking, I'll give a B. Punting, I'll give a D. So yeah, I would say somewhere around a C, C-. Let's see. Michael Dallas fan will say Ohio State class updated to 8th in the 26 class. Yes, we updated to 8th, and you are still our bit. Yeah, okay. You get the point, everybody. You get the point. Well, everybody, again, thank you for showing up here again, guys. Thank you for being part of the Voice of College Football. Again, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that like button. If you would like to, monetarily give to the channel, super chats and the here in live show super chats on the comments. Everyone, if you missed the live show, please go in the comments and tell me what you think about everything we talked about here today or tonight. If you haven't already saw our website, please check out vocfb.com, where we have our writers, all the channels that we have. You have friends and family that have, maybe they're fans of other teams like North Carolina, Oklahoma, Nebraska, or Oregon. We have it all here at vocfb, so please check that out. Also on Instagram. And again, everyone, thank you for showing up here. And as always, OHIO.